when I'm not feeling truly alone in my petition to save Club Penguin, I like to answer questions that I get on YouTube. So let's have at it. Looking traumatized on the thumbnail. I am the absolute worst at picking still photos for the thumbnail on these videos, if you haven't noticed. I feel like when I'm actually doing it, it's like, oh, there's a good shot, and then, you know, I make the thumbnail and upload it and stuff like that. And then always, without fail, like the next day I'll see it, and I'll be making like a totally weird face. I look either like scared, confused, or I don't even know the whole gamut of emotions, but yeah, picking out thumbnails is definitely not one of my finer skills. But anyways, you're just gonna have to deal with it because somebody's gotta do it. So what do you think of Relic'd custom shops then? So if you don't know, a Relic'd custom shop is when a manufacturer or somebody purposefully makes a guitar look super old. There's a lot of different ways you can do this. I know some guys who used to do it for one of the bigger manufacturers. They'd like kind of just beat a guitar up and like leave it on the roof overnight. It would rain on it and stuff like that. Just to kind of make it look like it's super old and beat up. And I don't really know exactly how I feel on this. To me, it kind of seems like cheating. Like you're just getting a guitar that has like pre-wear on it. I kind of feel like that's something that you like earn from like playing and like abusing it and like playing shows and just like dinging it and stuff like that too. In fact, in any experience I've ever had having a new guitar, I almost feel a sense of relief when I first kind of get that first like ding or scratch or something on it, because I will be super careful about it and I just don't want to play it. And then finally, once I get it, like maybe just a little scuff or something, it's actually just kind of like anxiety just like leaves me. It's weird. You'd almost think it'd be the opposite, like you'd be upset or whatever. But yeah, for me, it's almost like, oh, thank God, now I can finally be less careful with it because it's not like pristine anymore. Yeah, so I know a lot of the Relic'd custom shop stuff looks really fantastic, and it's really kind of amazing how especially Fender's custom shop, the way they do it, the consistency between models is actually like really awesome. So they do a fantastic job. I think it's just, for me, it seems kind of like cheating. Just bought my first new real guitar, a Seagull Rustic. Was wondering what you thought of the brand. I think Seagull guitars are fantastic. I think dollar for dollar, they're as good, if not better, than anything out there. If you don't know, Seagull is a company based out of Canada. It's the same company that like Godin is owned by the same people. I think maybe Godin is just the parent company that owns Seagull, something like that. But yeah, I became a big fan of Seagulls when I started playing an S6. And again, it was just an awesome guitar, and they're pretty relatively inexpensive. Most of them have solid tops. They're really well made. They play really great. My one thing is I'm not totally sold on the electronics that come with them a lot of the time. They kind of seem a little, I don't know, they have that super bright electronic, acoustic electric kind of sound to them, but I kind of feel that way about most acoustic electrics anyways. So yeah. Definitely, congratulations on getting the Seagull guitar in the first place. But yeah, if you've never tried it, next time you're at like a shop that has them, be sure to check them out because they're awesome guitars. If you could master any instrument besides guitar, what would it be? I've always been fascinated by pro-level drums. Those dudes are monsters. That's a tough question. I mean, I would love to be like a master drummer because those guys are just like so nasty. And just like watching, I feel like I enjoy watching master drummers kind of do their thing more than any other musician. It's almost like I feel like I can like learn something just watching like a really great drummer perform. But if I had to pick one instrument to be an absolute master at, I think I would choose piano because I feel it just has the widest range of capabilities. Like there's just an infinite amount of things you can do as far as like combining chords, combining melodies, and just being like a total one-man band playing percussively, playing melodically. Any type of genre music can utilize a piano. You can use those same skills on a keyboard and then MIDI it up to kind of play whatever you want. So if I had to pick one, I would definitely be a piano master. Every blues song, no. Beginner blues in any key, yes. But people who think blues is just 3 chords also can't play it, LOL. You suck, by the way. And this brings us to this week's installment of Salty Blues Player Comment of the Week. Again, I appreciate the thought put into this one, and especially kind of like the hammer at the end. You suck, by the way. That's actually kind of like a good way, again, to establish credibility after you've already made your point. Just kind of like that final kick in the ribs on the way out. Well played. Does playing through headphones suck? I think for the most part, it does. With a few exceptions. It depends on the headphones a lot. I use Audio-Technica ATH M50s, I think they're called. They're super popular ones. A lot of studios and stuff have them. And to me, they're like the best, most comfortable, good sounding headphones that I've played through. Again, it's not ideal kind of playing through headphones. I think I just like the open air and kind of like the freedom of not having that enclosed thing to kind of work through. I definitely truly dislike playing with like in-ear headphones. I think that's kind of like really tough, and it's just, it never feels right. You never really get the fullness of playing guitar through them. But I also understand that there are circumstances in which you can't really just crank up like an amp or something like that too. So my advice would definitely be to get maybe like some over-ear headphones if that's kind of like all you can do. I am a huge fan of the M50s. Again, they're kind of expensive, but they're not, I feel like they're a good value because I used to work at Guitar Center and Pro Audio, so I'd get to listen to like the Bayers and like even like the super expensive ones and stuff like that too. And to me, dollar for dollar, the Audio-Technica ones were the best ones that I heard. And even headphones that were more expensive than those kind of didn't feel or sound as good as those anyways. The one thing is they will wear down after like a couple years, like the material that's in the band and on the cuffs and stuff will start to kind of like wear off. So you're probably gonna have to replace it after like 3 years. But again, I think they're a really good investment. And especially with like the amazing software. I like the Native Instruments, kind of like Guitar Rig stuff. And there's a lot of really great ones out there. It really just expands your capabilities of being able to play in like a silent environment. So playing through headphones does kind of suck. It's not ideal, but in a pinch, it's way better than it used to be. So if that's kind of like what you're going for, make sure you get a decent set of headphones to use it with. Got my guitar set up by a well-regarded local business. It took them longer than expected and the communication was bad. He said things that contradicted himself between visits and seemed like a bit of a tool. The guitar plays really good, but some of the work was a little rough. Any tips on picking a guitar tech? So my tip on picking guitar tech is the same as like picking any kind of like service contractor or anything. That is, it's got to be somebody you can trust. And you can't even always find this guy or girl like by just asking people, because I found that people just want to answer questions even if they don't know. Like if you, like I've asked people like, oh, who's a guitar tech? And what they hear is like, do you know the name of a guitar tech as compared to who's a good guitar tech? Like they just want to answer a question like, oh, I know that this guy works on a guitar, so he's a good guitar tech even though I have no experience with it. Same with like contractors, like, do you know a good plumber? Like, I don't know a good plumber, but I know a plumber, so I'll say his name because it makes me feel important to spread information around, even though I have no idea if he's good or not. So my advice is like to maybe get a couple different references. I know I actually got lucky because I know a couple good guitar techs, and I met them kind of just hanging around at a guitar shop and just kind of talking to the tech himself. In fact, my buddy Justin, who you've seen on the channel a lot, is an awesome tech for most things. I mean, he doesn't do everything, but what he does, like just setups and stuff like that, he's amazing at. So I'm lucky that I have a guy that I know and I trust to go to if I have any problems. But really, that just comes from building relationships and not just kind of like trusting one person's comment kind of sight unseen. So it's really just about asking around, finding somebody with a good reputation, and then really sticking with them. And that's why just having some kind of network of musical community is so important, because you never know when you're going to run into some kind of situation where you need to know a guy who knows what he's talking about. So again, just like anything, just like working on your car or whatever, it's just good to have a network of good people that you trust and you feel like you're going to get good service when you bring them something. So for listening homework, I'm excited to share a band that I just found out about via my buddy Logan. It's a band called Minden, and I'm going to link you to a song called Love Is Bad. I think their whole album is pretty awesome. I wouldn't say it's like a guitar album specifically. It's almost kind of like a neo-funk, I don't want to call it dancey, but like it's just really cool. It's a really awesome vibing album that you should check out, so I will link you below. And if you have any questions, hit me up in the comments, Instagram, Twitter, or whatever, and I will get to you as soon as I can. Thanks a lot.